The first stop on our visit to Big Bend is Marathon, which is beautiful in the daytime. But when the sun goes down, it's time for the real show to begin.
Polaris is the North Star. So where would you think to look for Polaris? In the north. And so that's where it begins.
Danny Self is the owner of Marathon Motel and RV Park. When it comes to his story, taking over the business in 2000 was just the start of something greater than he ever imagined.
In 2011, picked up on the astronomy part because we've got one of the darkest skies in the country. So that's when Scott Mecca, an astronomer from Wyoming, showed up, and we knew we've got a sky like this. You know, you can see the Milky Way, you can see nebulas naked eye. I mean, there's a lot of features to a sky like this, but kind of what do you do with it? And so he was the one that introduced us to it when he stayed here at the motel, and he took us out with his green laser and did a constellation tour and started pointing out the various constellations. And so suddenly the stars took shape. And so that led to photography, which led to the observing, which led to the McDonald Observatory donating a 24-inch telescope to the Marathon Independent School District, which we provided the housing for here at the motel.
Now, this self-taught astronomer has turned his motel into a stargazer's paradise, complete with stargazing parties, constellation tours, and fun facts about the skies above. Novice or expert, it's a place where anyone could feel small, in a good way, and a place that keeps people coming back to experience the wonders of space.
You put it out there, they will come, and that's what happened. You can come out now and look through the telescope. Bill or myself or whoever will do the same constellation tours, and what I've had a lot of fun with is taking people out and kind of introducing them to it. And you look at Saturn, Jupiter, they're seeing things they've never seen before because of a sky like this.
Reflecting on the path that led him here, Danny says this isn't what he had in mind.
Oh, no. This motel has taken me on one heck of a journey. And I mean, we've done it all out here because we're so remote and we're located in a basin. So there's things that we could do out here that I couldn't do in Austin. You know, as I put it, I said there's things we can do in Marathon that we can't do anywhere else, and vice versa. And so when I first came out here, you know, I was just aspiring to just figure out how to run a motel, and ended up doing astronomy with astrophotography. I'd never even heard of that when I first bought the place. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey over the last 21 years.
So when it comes to Danny and his motel, I guess you could just say all the stars aligned. Welcome back. Now, you can't come to this area and not go to Big Bend National Park. This place is unique, diverse, and breathtaking.
Big, wild, and wonderful Big Bend in West Texas was relatively unknown for a long time. It wasn't really until the 1930s that the area began to become accessible. People started looking westward toward this amazing resource, and the state of Texas recognized how special it was and established what then was called in 1933 Texas Canyons State Park. And just a few months later, they changed the name to Big Bend State Park in 1933. But at the same time, they also were looking to get this area recognized as a national park. And the National Park Service sent a team out to remote West Texas in the mid-1930s, and they were blown away by the resources of this amazing place. The scenery, the pioneering spirit of the people that lived out here, the opportunities for adventure and wide open spaces really appealed to the National Park Service in the 1930s. And in 1935, Congress approved Big Bend National Park, but there was no money associated with it. It would be up to the state of Texas to raise the funds to obtain the land. You know, back then, even back in the 1930s, there were people living out here. There were ranchers, there were miners, many landholders out here, and it would actually take many years of negotiation and compromise and fundraising to obtain the property that is now Big Bend National Park. It ultimately ended up costing the state of Texas $1.5 million to purchase over 600,000 acres out here in remote West Texas. And that's close to what the property of the park is today. Big Bend National Park is now 800,000 acres, but back in the 1930s, early 1940s, the state of Texas obtained the property, purchased the land, and donated it to the federal government for the express purpose of setting it aside as a national park. And so it's something that all Texans can be very proud of. It's also often referred to as Texas's gift to the nation. Big Bend National Park is interesting because it doesn't look like anywhere else in the United States. It certainly doesn't look like much else in the state of Texas. Most visitors come here and they're kind of blown away. This place looks different. It feels different. There's something in the air about this special place. It is special. It is a tiny hem of the skirt of the Chihuahuan Desert, most of which is in Mexico. And those of us that live in the United States, there's only a few places we can really get into areas that just surround you with Chihuahuan Desert mystique. And Big Bend is the prime example of the Chihuahuan Desert in the United States. So lots of plants are found here that are found nowhere else in the United States, from top to bottom, from down near the river to up in the high country. Some unique plants that you'll never see anywhere else. Some very special wildlife species you'll see here. Most people in the United States don't have an opportunity to see things like javelina, all the large numbers of reptiles that we see here, and particularly birds. Big Bend is ground zero for diversity of birds, and people come to Big Bend National Park literally from all over the world to see birds. Not just large numbers of different types of birds, but some specialty birds that are found nowhere else in the United States. We have hundreds of thousands of people that visit this place every year, and growing. Most of our visitors in Big Bend National Park are from Texas, and believe it or not, most of them have been here many times before. They love the place, they're proud of the place, they love sharing it with the younger generations and their out-of-state visitors, and they just revel in exploring the wide open expanses of Texas's gift to the nation.
Welcome to Terlingua, a place known for its history, culture, and being eclectic. And you know what? That's exactly the way they want it.
It goes way back. I'm probably the official old timer in town. I bought Terlingua about 30 years ago, and I've spent the past 30 years trying to not just restore it, but to save it, because most of the buildings actually were in dire need of repair, or they were actually falling down. A good example is the church. That was our first project. The whole front wall of the church was gone. And so that was our first project, was to save the church, not just restore it, but to actually repair it, to keep it from going away. And a great example is next door at the Starlight Theater. It didn't have a roof. That's how it got the name the Starlight Theater. We still had dances, we had parties, we had fun in there without a roof. And then it was decided, if we don't put a roof on it, we're not going to have anything left. And so we put a roof on it, and now we're having even more fun over there. You have to keep in mind, I didn't have a lot of money to rebuild a town. So that's why it's taken 30 years to get to the point that we are, and we're still working on it. It'll last longer than I will. This is a big project, and we take it one piece at a time. And it's been a lot of fun doing it, and I look forward to even more fun stuff in the future. We've reached a kind of a turning point for not just Terlingua, but the entire greater Big Bend area. My initial goal when I bought the Terlingua ghost town, and it was a ghost town. I mean, there was maybe 4 or 5 people living here, and no source of water. Buildings didn't have electricity, plumbing, or anything. So it really was a ghost town. And of course, that's 30 years ago. And my vision then was for Terlingua to become a destination in the Big Bend. And I think we've reached that goal, because we do have people coming here either, to eat at the Starlight or just stay in in the Perry Mansion or the Holiday Hotel. So my goal now has shifted into preserving it the best way possible so that it is convenient for the many thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of visitors that we get every year, but still have that look of a ghost town and the feel of that ghost town spirit, which is a lot of freedom to express yourself in the best way that you want to, as long as you don't hurt anybody or insult anybody. And for that reason, we don't have any politics here. Folks come up to me and say, "Oh, you own the ghost town, so you're the mayor?" And I said, "No, we don't allow politics here. I am not the mayor. The town runs itself." So it's a unique situation where the people that live here and work here, they pretty much have a say-so in how we evolve. I'm the ultimate say-so there because I'm the one with a vision. But pretty neat situation to where everybody has a piece in how the ghost town is to either proceed or evolve or be preserved. The people that live here, they don't live here for a job. They don't live here for family. They live here because they want to. And I don't know of very many other communities that is completely comprised of people that want to live there, and that's why they're there.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed everything that you've seen so far. I've got Madison here with me. She's with Visit Big Bend, and you've got some advice for folks who are planning a trip out here.
Absolutely. Just so you know, our area is really big. There's a lot to see here, as you well know. So I would say my best piece of advice is to plan ahead and also give yourself a lot of time to come visit. So I would say at least give yourself a day to drive back, about 2 or 3 days in between then to really see our entire area. We have the part of the state park in the Lajitas area. We have amazing outfitters like you got to go on the horseback ride. In the Studi Butte Terlingua area, the Terlingua Ghost Town, we have the National Park, of course, which you want to give yourself at least a day to go visit, which is great. And then we're, of course, here at the Gage Gardens in Marathon. They have the Gage Gardens. The restaurants here are really great. The brewery is great. So I would say at least give yourself a good, about good 4 or 5 day weekend to come out here.
And it's all beautiful. Let me tell you, no matter what you do, it's going to be gorgeous. So y'all actually have a couple of apps that help people plan their trip.
Yeah, so the first app I'll talk about is our audio guide. So you download it through the Just Ahead app. That's the one you want to look for in the App Store or Google Play. And you want to just Google Big Bend. And it's free to download. And what you do is you download it. You can hook it up into the Bluetooth in your car. You could even click the points in the app itself if you're not in the area and you just want to learn about it. But what it'll do is as you're driving through our county, in our area, and some other spots along the way, it'll tell you the history, some information about different pinpoints. And what's great too is it works offline. So if you lose internet or connection, it'll still work for you. And then the other one we have, which is really great before you come down as well, is our Visit Big Bend app. It's actually a trip planning app. So what you can do is you can click different like activities you want to do, either horseback riding, ATV tours, and it'll give you the outfitters that offer that and their contact information. You could actually plan an itinerary yourself, places you want to stay, things you want to see, and that again is free through the Google Play Store or the Apple Store as well.
Wow, and it just does it all for you.
Does it all for you, yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, Madison, thank you so much for being here with us and for showing us all this wonderful stuff. Do you have any other messages you want to share with the folks?
I just want to say, we welcome everybody, and we just can't wait to see you visit Big Bend.
Visit Big Bend, folks. Exactly. Well, thanks again, Madison, and thank you all for watching. Hey, that's all the time we have for right now, but we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.